Hey y'all, so I'm on vacation. I'm in Tulsa. For those of you who don't know, I am from Tulsa, Oklahoma, born and raised here. And so I'm on vacation for the holidays. I'm visiting my mom and my sister and my brothers, and I am really having a good time. I was hanging out with my brother today, and we were just talking about the podcast, The Bright Side of 50, GYSB, which is my Get Your Sexy Back movement, and what am I going to do with all of that? Are you going to keep podcasting? How are you feeling? What's your subject matter? What are you going to do with this podcast? Are you going to continue doing it? And I told you guys in November, because I think I did my latest episode was in November, and I said I was going to take a break, didn't know if I was going to come back. And if I were to come back, how would I come back with what subject matter? And then I talked about, maybe doing something in the development, fundraising realm because I am a director of development and I have been doing fundraising for almost 8 years now. And so I was thinking about that. So I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if I want to continue to do content on the aging process and women in our 50s and the things that we go through in our 50s. Like, I just don't know what direction I'm going to go in. And I was looking at different episodes from the past and what those episodes were on. And the ones that got the most comments, views, feedback are the ones that have something to do with relationships. I am not a relationship guru. I am not the relationship expert. I can't even tell you the last real date that I've been on. I think the last time I had a relationship was in like 2015, which is about to be 2025. So that was eons ago, almost 10 years ago, that I was in a relationship. So I'm definitely not the person to have a relationship podcast. And I think there's only so much you can talk about when you talk about the dating process and how crazy it is out here in these single streets, this, that, and the other. Like, I don't want to be the relationship person. Do I mind touching on dating and how that's going now and then? I mean, I guess I could, but like I said, I don't even really go on a lot of dates. So the last episode that did really well when it had something to do with relationships was the one that I did on He's Separated, Not Divorced. If you haven't listened to that episode, go have a listen. That episode did really well. It had like 6,000 views or something like that and like over 100 comments, which is rare for me because I don't really get a lot of views on this podcast episode. On this YouTube. So it really landed well and really resonated with a lot of people because I think that there are people out here for whatever reason, whether it is, hey, this is as good as it gets. Maybe they're a little bit desperate if it happens. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they are, thinking it through and thinking, I don't know, the person is separated. Maybe it's not such a bad idea. Whatever the reason, that episode got a lot of comments, feedback, and views because I do think that there are people who are finding themselves in these situations with these men who are not completely done in the relationships that they're in for whatever reason. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's because I don't know, maybe they don't, haven't decided on, where they're going to land with the kids. It could be anything, but that episode got a lot of views because there are people who are in relationships with men or women who have not yet had that final, hey, let's get divorced, the papers are signed, and it's over. So that episode did well. Piggybacking up on that episode, I don't know what the piggyback would be. I'm just not sure. I don't know what more I could say about that. In that episode, I was very raw and transparent about some of my own personal experiences. And one in particular, I did share about that. And one thing Carla's going to do, talking in third person, one thing I'm going to do is be as transparent as possible when I'm delivering information because I think that the more real, open, and honest I am, the more respected, relatable I will be with the people who are listening to this podcast, whether it's 2 people, 20 people, 200 people, 2,000 people. They will see that, hey, she's a real person. She's really sharing open and honestly, even when I do things that aren't the way that they should be done. And I'm reflecting or I'm just sharing on my own personal experience and the things that I've learned from those experiences. I think that that's important. I think that's important. I think that's what people need. So, after all of this rambling that I'm doing, and I'm just thinking and processing out loud with you, what I want to know is, what would you want to hear from me? A woman in her 50s, who is single, been single, super single, I should say, for a very long time. I am a mom. My son will be 25 January 6th. So I've had that experience as a mom. I've had some dating experiences. I've had experiences as a midlife woman. I've had experiences with work transitions. I don't know if that's a sexy topic that people want to hear about. I just don't know, and I won't know unless you tell me, hey, these are the things that we want to hear about. I'm not going to talk about menopause. I think there are enough people online talking about menopause and the experience there. Yes, I've experienced it, going through it myself. But it's not a topic that I want to harp on, because what I do think about the menopause topic, and I'm not trying to minimize the experience that we're having with menopause, but I think that a lot of women will say, oh, menopause, and they keep saying it, and it gets to a point where it becomes an excuse or a crutch. And oftentimes it will lessen the accountability that people are putting on themselves to do what's right and to make adjustments where they need to make adjustments, whether it's for weight loss, because a lot of people do blame a lot of weight gain on menopause, which it can happen. But sometimes that just means that you need to try harder, or we need to try harder and make some shifts in what we're putting into our bodies and how we're moving our bodies. So I don't want to talk about menopause in length, because I've been there, done that. I've had guests on the podcast who have done that. And I think that we can do our own research, and you can follow people who have a platform dedicated specifically to women in midlife going through menopause. There are plenty of those. So I don't want this to be that. I also don't want it to be all about fitness, right? Because I am a multi-dimensional person, right? And I think that just talking about fitness is going to get boring. I even got bored with it myself when I was just talking about that over and over again. And so I don't want that to be it either. So before I get out of here, I'm going to ask you, what is it that I can share, talk about without a bunch of preparation? I don't know why that little thumb keeps doing it, but every time I nod my head, I feel like it comes up. There it is. I have turned that thing off so many times, y'all. I've turned it off so many times, and it's so annoying that it's not respecting the turn off that I've done. So I'm going to have to figure out what's going on with that. Maybe they can tell me through Apple. But anyway, I'm on vacation, like I said, but I thought I would do this podcast episode here on YouTube and on Spotify and Apple, just to ask you, if I'm not going to stop podcasting and I'm going to actually come back at the beginning of the year and podcast, what would resonate with you? What would you like for me to talk about? Even if I am just turning on my camera and I am just sharing, what would you like for me to share? What would you like for me to share? What is it that you, and I know that there will be different things that people say if you weigh in at all. I need you to weigh in, because if I'm asking you, I care, and I'm trying to figure this thing out. But what is it that you would like for me to touch on? Just raw and uncut. Like, what is it? Because I don't have time to do like a bunch of editing and always taking out my podcast equipment and my microphone and my lights and all of that. That was one of the things that really made it a little bit challenging for me, is because I felt like I always needed to be sitting in my podcast room with my podcast equipment out, with the lighting at a certain time of day. I just couldn't keep that up because I have a lot of things going on, and it just wasn't working for me. So let's figure this thing out together. And the only way that I'm going to really, really figure this out is if you weigh in and let me know what your thoughts are. And I can, have some things to noodle on to decide which direction, if at all, I am going to go. All right. So it's been great. I am going to get into the bed. It is 11 o'clock, I think, here, or almost 11. No, is it? It's 11:15 here in Tulsa. I just went out to eat with my mommy and my sister. We had a really nice steak dinner. Mom treated us, and it was quite lovely. So I'm full. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep well. I'm gonna enjoy my little Airbnb. I get an Airbnb when I come home just because I like to just kind of have my own space. We also, my mom has a no drinking policy, like wine and alcohol at her home. So I respect her and her husband, and I don't bring alcohol into their house, but I got some wine over here because this is my Airbnb. All right, y'all. It's been real. It's been nice just jumping on here, chatting, asking a few questions. I want you to weigh in, okay? And I hope you have a wonderful new year. It's around the corner. I'm excited for 2025. Right now it's the 28th, but I'm excited about New Year, and I think that 2025 is going to be what we make it. You know, we always say, "Oh, New Year, new me." Like really, like be really thoughtful and really intentional about how you're going to approach this new year, and really lay some strategies out. You know how we do strategic planning for organizations? Like we need to do some strategic planning for ourselves, and like really figure out how we're going to attack 2025 in a way that's going to be absolutely amazing for us, because it can be. It can be. All right, so that's something I can talk about at another time. That's a really good topic, actually. Maybe I'll pick that up next time. But it's been great, guys. I will see you on the next episode of The Bright Side of 50 with Carla Palmer. Okay, take care, guys. Bye bye.